If you have been taking deworming medication for years and the worms keep coming back no matter what you do, there are very specific, evidence-based reasons why that is happening. And the good news is, once you understand those reasons, there are clear and practical steps you can take to finally break the cycle for good. I'm Dr. Rachael Augustine, and on this channel, I talk about gut health, digestive wellness, and everything that affects how your body actually functions from the inside out, especially for seniors and those of us who are a little further along in life and just finding out that the old approaches aren't working the way they used to. Now, I know it might sound surprising, maybe even a little frustrating, that something as straightforward as taking a deworming tablet isn't solving your problem. You've done what you were told. You went to the pharmacy, you went to the hospital, you took the drugs, and yet the bloating is still there, the fatigue is still there, the cravings, the crawling sensations at night, the strange patterns, still there. I want you to know, you are not imagining things, and it is not your fault. In this video, I want to walk you through exactly why worms survive even after you deworm, because nobody is talking about the full picture. Most people are only getting half the story, and that half story is why so many people are stuck in this exhausting cycle. We're going to cover the specific gut conditions that make deworming drugs ineffective, the biological reason worms keep returning, what the research and clinical experience actually tells us about lasting gut health, and a clear terrain reset approach that works, not as a replacement for your medication, but as the foundation that makes everything else finally work. So stay with me, because this is one of the most important conversations we can have about your health. Let's start with the drugs. You've probably used them all: Zentel, Combantrin, Pyrantrin, and if you're the kind of person who leaves no stone unturned, and I suspect you are because you're here, you've probably tried combinations, different brands, different timings, different doses. You may have even gone to the hospital and been given something stronger, and still, the worms come back. Now, here's the question nobody in the pharmacy and very few doctors will ever take the time to sit down and explain to you. Why? Why do the worms keep surviving when the drugs are specifically designed to kill them? The answer is not what most people expect. The problem is not the drug itself. Albendazole, which is the active ingredient in Zentel, is actually a well-studied compound. Mebendazole, pyrantel pamoate, these are legitimate antiparasitic medications. Under the right conditions, they work. The key word is under the right conditions. And here is the truth nobody told you. Deworming drugs do not work when your gut is broken. Say that again, slowly. Deworming drugs do not work when your gut is broken. What does a broken gut mean? It means your gut lining is inflamed. It means the environment inside your digestive tract has been disrupted. It means the delicate balance of bacteria, enzymes, acids, and mucus that your body depends on to function, that balance has been thrown completely off. Think about it this way. Imagine you're trying to fumigate a house, but the house has holes in the walls, the windows are broken, and the ventilation is all wrong. You can pump as much fumigation gas as you want. Most of it will escape before it even reaches the pests. That's what's happening inside your gut. The drug goes in, but your gut terrain is so disrupted that the drug cannot penetrate, cannot activate, cannot reach the worms in the places where they're hiding. They have been surviving inside human hosts for thousands, arguably millions of years. They know how to adapt. They know how to hide in inflamed mucosa. They know how to burrow deep into the lining of your intestines where the drug concentration is lowest. So you take the dewormer. It kills the ones that are most exposed, the ones that are deep, the ones that are burrowed, the ones that are breeding. They survive, and a few weeks later, you're back to square one. Let's quickly talk about the 3 conditions that keep worms alive inside you. There are 3 specific conditions that create a gut environment where worms thrive, even when you're taking medication. Condition 1, gut inflammation. When your gut lining is inflamed, it's essentially in a state of injury. The walls of your intestine are swollen, compromised, and damaged. This is the perfect hiding ground for parasites. The worms themselves contribute to the inflammation. They release toxins. They burrow into your mucosal lining. They create micro-injuries that your body is constantly trying to repair. And while your immune system is distracted patching up those micro-injuries, the worms continue to breed. Inflammation protects the worms. The worms create more inflammation. and the inflammation makes the dewormer less effective. Round and round it goes. Condition 2. Poor bile flow. Bile is a digestive fluid produced by your liver and stored in your gallbladder. Most people know bile as something that helps you digest fat, but bile is also one of your body's natural antiparasitic compounds. When your bile is flowing properly, when your liver is healthy, when your gallbladder is functioning, your gut has a natural defense system working around the clock. But when bile flow is poor, that natural defense breaks down. What disrupts bile flow? A diet high in processed foods, chronic dehydration, a sedentary lifestyle, hormonal imbalances, excess stress. These are the very conditions that describe the lifestyle of millions of people today, especially as we get older. Condition 3. A sugar-heavy, processed diet. If your diet is heavy in sugar, refined carbohydrates, and processed foods, you are, quite literally, feeding the worms. Intestinal parasites' preferred food source is simple sugar. Every time you eat white bread, soft drinks, sugary tea, sweets, you're sending a feast down to the worms. Your diet is either starving the worms or feeding them. There is no neutral ground. Let me enlighten you on the mucosal layer, what I call the worm's favorite real estate. Your gut wall is lined with a thick, gel-like layer called the mucosa. This layer protects the gut wall, acts as a physical barrier between your intestines and your bloodstream, houses a significant portion of your immune system, and harbors your microbiome. Worms love the mucosa. They burrow into it. They lay eggs inside it. They use it as a refuge, a place to hide from your immune system, and a place to hide from the antiparasitic drugs moving through your intestinal canal. When the mucosal layer is damaged through poor diet, chronic inflammation, long-term antibiotic use, or chronic stress, it becomes thin, leaky, and vulnerable, and that is when it becomes prime real estate for parasites. To truly get rid of a parasitic infection, you must first restore the mucosal layer. You must rebuild the terrain. You must make your gut an environment where parasites cannot thrive. Let's briefly discuss the terrain theory. Here, you'll discover the worm is not actually the problem. I want to introduce you to one of the most important concepts in holistic health, terrain theory. You may have heard of germ theory, the idea that disease is caused by external microorganisms. This is the dominant framework in modern medicine, and it is not wrong, but it is incomplete. Terrain theory says that while germs and parasites are real, whether they thrive inside you depends more on the condition of your body's internal terrain than on the organism itself. In other words, the worm is not the problem, the terrain is the invitation. Think about it this way. Mosquitoes breed in stagnant water. If you want to get rid of mosquitoes, you can try to swat every single one, but as long as the stagnant water remains, new mosquitoes will keep breeding. The real solution is to drain the stagnant water. The same principle applies to intestinal parasites. The drugs are like the fly swatter, but as long as your gut terrain remains broken, the inflammation, the poor bile flow, the mucosal damage, the sugar-rich diet, the worms will keep returning. The real solution is to change the terrain, reset your mucosa, heal your gut lining, rebuild the microbial balance, restore bile flow, cut off the food supply, and then, from that healed terrain, let your antiparasitic treatment do its job. Now, I'll share you some signs that you may still have a parasitic infection. One of the most frustrating things about intestinal parasites is that they mimic so many other conditions. People are often told they have IBS, or stress, or anxiety, or just getting older. Here are the signs you should never ignore. Bloating, especially after meals or without a clear dietary cause. Parasites produce gas as a byproduct of their metabolic activity. Cravings, particularly for sugar and refined carbohydrates. There is growing evidence that parasitic infections can influence the host's food cravings, making you crave the foods that keep them alive. Unexplained weight loss, or difficulty maintaining weight. Parasites compete with you for nutrients, absorbing vitamins and minerals before your body can use them. Fatigue, the kind not explained by your sleep patterns. Running on empty, even after a full night's rest. Bad breath that does not resolve with good oral hygiene. Parasitic infections can affect the pH and microbial balance of the entire digestive tract. Crawling sensations at night, a classic sign. Worms are more active at night and can cause intense itching and crawling sensations. unusual stool patterns, alternating diarrhea and constipation, mucus in the stool, or visible worms or eggs. If you are experiencing several of these symptoms, and especially if you've been taking dewormers without lasting relief, please do not dismiss this as just getting older. Your body is trying to tell you something. Don't ignore it. How to fix the problem, reset the terrain, and avoid reoccurring worm infestation. Healing from a chronic parasitic infection requires a multi-pronged approach. It's not magic. It is a deliberate, strategic reset of your gut terrain, and it works. Step 1. Stop feeding the worms. Cut out refined sugar, processed foods, white flour, sodas, and packaged snacks. Replace them with whole foods, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, quality protein, healthy fats. This alone begins to change the gut environment. You are literally starving the parasites while nourishing your own cells. Step 2. Support bile flow foods, and herbs that support bile production include bitter greens like dandelion, arugula, and radish, beetroot, lemon water first thing in the morning, adequate quality fats which stimulate bile release, herbs like milk thistle to support liver function. Step 3. Rebuild the mucosal lining. The gut lining needs zinc, vitamin A, glutamine, and certain probiotic strains. Foods rich in these nutrients include organ meats, eggs, leafy greens, fermented foods, and bone broth, which contains gelatin and collagen that directly support the mucosal layer. Step 4. Restore the microbial balance. Rebuild the microbiome through fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, fermented vegetables, and through fiber-rich foods that feed beneficial bacteria. If you've had multiple courses of antibiotics over the years, your microbiome may need deliberate, sustained rebuilding. Step 5. Now use your antiparasitic treatment. Once you have begun to shift the terrain, your body is in a much better position to respond to antiparasitic treatment. The drug can now penetrate more effectively. The worms have fewer hiding places. Your immune system is better positioned to recognize and eliminate them. That is how healing actually works. Not magic, not a miracle cure, just food, strategy, and a terrain reset. Seniors, I want you, listen attentively, especially if you are 55, 60, 70 and beyond, because this issue is very much applicable to you. As we age, our stomach acid production declines, a natural line of defense against ingested parasites. Our immune response becomes less robust. Our gut motility slows down, giving infections more time to take hold. And many of us have been on long-term medications, antacids, antibiotics, anti-inflammatories that have disrupted the gut microbiome over years or decades. This is not a counsel of despair. It is a call to be more intentional, not less. The terrain reset approach works at any age. For older adults, the nutritional focus, whole foods, liver-supportive foods, rebuilding the microbiome, often delivers benefits far beyond parasite elimination. Better energy, clearer thinking, improved digestion, better sleep, less bloating, and weight stabilization. Because when you heal the gut, you heal so many things at once. Before I go, let me do a quick recap of all I've talked about today. If you've been taking dewormers for years and the worms keep coming back, the problem is not the drug. The problem is the terrain. Your gut is broken. Not beyond repair, but broken enough that the worms can hide, breed, and survive every treatment you throw at them. The solution is not a stronger drug. The solution is to fix the gut first, reset the mucosa, heal the gut lining, restore bile flow, rebuild the microbiome, stop feeding the worms, and then, from that foundation of healing, let your antiparasitic treatment do its job in a gut that is actually ready to cooperate. Don't ignore the signs. Bloating, cravings, low weight, fatigue, bad breath, crawling sensations at night, unusual stool patterns. These are your body's way of raising its hand and saying, something is wrong, please listen. If this video helped you today, please share it with someone you care about. This information is not talked about enough. Too many people, especially older adults, are silently suffering from something that is very much addressable. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have you ever experienced any of these symptoms? Have you been dealing with recurring worm infections despite taking medication? I genuinely want to hear from you. Your experience might be exactly what helps someone else in this community feel less alone. And if you want to go deeper on gut health, healing the mucosal lining, and natural terrain reset strategies, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we go into all of that and more in the videos ahead. This is Dr. Rachael Augustine, reminding you that your body is not your enemy. It is trying to heal. Give it the right conditions and it will. You deserve to feel well. Let's fix the root.